Asia's richest man, with a 20-minute speech, destroyed the biggest IPO in history. The founder of Alibaba, for challenging his government, lost $34.5 billion in his IPO. Welcome to Plexo. October 24, 2020. Shanghai. At the Bund Summit, Jack Ma walked to the podium. In front of him waited the most powerful financial regulators of the Communist Party. Ma, the smiling magnate with a sharp face, grabbed the microphone, looked at the authorities, and unleashed a blistering critique. He accused state-owned banks of having a pawnshop mentality. He said regulators were using old methods to hold back the future. In the room, the silence grew thick. Ma was about to crown his masterpiece. His financial subsidiary, Ant Group, was preparing its IPO for November 5. It was going to raise $34.5 billion, shattering global records, and valuing the company at $315 billion. It was going to be the coronation of Chinese capitalism. But in China, capital is never above the state. Ma's words quickly reached Beijing, where Xi Jinping heard the challenge. For the government, Ant Group wasn't just an app. It was a massive lender, operating without rules. That same night, in the Shanghai subway, government workers tore down Ant Group billboards. The most eloquent warning was never spoken aloud. The punishment was swift and spectacular. On November 2, Ma and his top executives were summoned to a meeting. The closed-door meeting included multiple regulatory agencies. There was no debate, only a verdict. The next day, the Shanghai Stock Exchange announced a drastic measure. It ordered the indefinite suspension of Ant Group's IPO. Hours later, Hong Kong did the same. In a matter of hours, the most ambitious financial dream of the 21st century collapsed. Global investors, who had subscribed to the shares with absolute frenzy, were left empty-handed. On the morning of November 5, the screens of the Shanghai Stock Exchange showed a black, empty space. That's where Ant Group's ticker was supposed to shine. Jack Ma, the charismatic former English teacher, disappeared. He loved giving interviews and singing in costume in stadiums in front of thousands of employees. November passed without a single public appearance. December arrived. Ma was replaced as a judge on his own TV show. Chinese social media began censoring searches about his whereabouts. Western media erupted in speculation. Some said he had fled to Singapore. Others whispered he was under house arrest in a secret facility. Beijing's message was crystal clear, brutal, and needed no words. The Communist Party, in less than a week, could erase the country's most famous and richest businessman from the map. No citizen was safe. The era of untouchable tycoons had ended. None of them knew it yet, but this was just the beginning. For nearly 3 months, Jack Ma's whereabouts were the biggest mystery in the financial world. Then, on January 20, 2021, a 48-second video appeared online. Ma sat in a bare room, hands clasped on a table, speaking at a conference for rural teachers. His tone was submissive. There was no trace of the billionaire, who had challenged bankers in Shanghai. That man, famous for dancing to Michael Jackson in front of 16,000 people, now recited slogans about charity and poverty reduction. He was aligning himself with the government's official rhetoric. But public humiliation was just the first step. The real blow was aimed at his empire's wallet and structure. In April 2021, Chinese authorities wrapped up an antitrust investigation. The verdict was crushing. The government slapped Alibaba with a record $2.78 billion fine, 4% of its 2019 domestic revenue. They accused it of abusing market dominance by forcing merchants to choose its platform exclusively. To show total submission, Alibaba's executives didn't appeal. Instead, they published a letter thanking regulators for their guidance. A mountain of court documents, sealed with the state's red ink, landed on the board's desk to certify the surrender. The e-commerce giant had been tamed. Ironically, the thank you letter was drafted by the same lawyers who, months earlier, were preparing the biggest IPO in history. Jack Ma's fall wasn't an isolated incident. It was the starting gun for a massive corporate purge. Under the banner of curbing the disorderly expansion of capital, Beijing unleashed a regulatory storm on China's entire tech industry. Tencent, Baidu, Meituan, and Didi faced investigations, fines, and fierce restrictions. Within months, panic wiped out over $1 trillion in market value from Chinese stocks. On Beijing streets, government cranes tore down neon signs belonging to tech giants and tutoring companies, symbolizing the end of an era of unchecked growth. Meanwhile, Ant Group was forced to restructure completely. It was no longer considered an innovative tech company. Instead, it was reclassified as a traditional financial holding company, subject to the same capital requirements as banks, the very institutions Ma had insulted in October 2020. Its valuation, once nearing $315 billion, collapsed to under $80 billion. To complete the purge, the government demanded that the founder himself step aside. In a meticulously orchestrated process, Jack Ma gave up total control of Ant Group. His voting power, which exceeded 50%, was slashed to a negligible 6%. The man who built the financial nervous system of the world's second-largest economy was stripped of his own creation. From the shadows, he was forced to watch as the state took the reins, controlling what he had built from scratch. Today, the boldest entrepreneur in modern Chinese history lives in exile. His life unfolds in calculated silence. Far from packed stadiums and global spotlights, Jack Ma has been spotted only sporadically. He's been seen quietly dining in Thailand, painting in Spain, or studying agriculture in Japan. The most brutal image of his fall isn't a prison cell, it's a greenhouse in Tokyo. There, the former e-commerce titan spends his days photographing orchids and studying fish farming. Meanwhile, his empire has been dismantled. Alibaba was split into 6 independent business units, a move designed to prevent any corporation from amassing that much power again. The Chinese government achieved its goal. It neutralized the threat of a private monopoly and reasserted the party's absolute supremacy over the economy. But Beijing's victory now carries an incalculable financial cost. By neutralizing its most successful entrepreneur, China sent a chilling message to the next generation of innovators. Foreign capital fled, and tech valuations collapsed. Worse, the risk-taking spirit that built China's economic miracle was deeply wounded. The Alibaba case proves that business success in China is only tolerated if it serves as a tool of political power. When the creator challenges the system devours the creator. China tamed its greatest entrepreneur, and in doing so, ripped from its own economy, the only engine capable of defying the stagnation it so fears.